Hey athletes, coming at you today from my office, and I want to talk today about something that most guys over 40 struggle with. But when I say that, most people struggle with this same thing. But here's kind of the narrative in our head is we think that because we're getting older, right? Because we're in our 40s, our 50s, our 60s, we're more prone to injury. And if we do get an injury, it's going to take us twice as long to recover from that injury, right? Does that make sense? Like, does that resonate with you, right? Is that what you've been told? Is that your belief? Is that something that you're thinking right now? Because 9 folks out of 10 that I would ever have a conversation with, if I would bring that up, it would be like, it's a hard fact, right? As we get older, we're more susceptible to damage, and it takes us much longer to recover. What if we change that belief? What if that was not necessarily the case? Because I know a lot of 20-year-olds, I know a lot of 15-year-olds that have some pretty massive injuries and that don't recover very well, right? So like, think about the athlete, the basketball player who blows an ACL, right? What's the difference between being 15 and being, let's say, 50? I know there's a lot of differences. Don't get me wrong. Like, I get it. There are some differences there. But for the most part, we just blame our susceptibility to age. And I think until we get ourselves out of that mindset and into some new ways of thinking, that we can start to put some of those things to rest. Because I'm 46 years old and I've never broken a bone. I've never had any severe injury. I've had some pretty bad surgeries, but I've never had any injuries. And you're probably thinking, well, maybe you just lived in a bubble your whole life. I mean, I grew up in like the 70s and 80s. I lived like if you're watching this, you remember those days. We rode our bikes everywhere. We played outside all day, every day, climbed trees, dug holes, started fires, went as fast as we could building crazy go-karts, went as fast as we could on the bikes, jumped off of ramps, did it without helmets. We did the whole thing. Like, that was my life. And I continue to do that stuff to this day. I continue to do all those things. So it's not because I've never taken a fall. It's not because I've never taken a hit. I mean, I've gotten hurt, but I've never had to be hospitalized. I've never broken a bone. So why is that? And this is even more interesting. The reason that I'm talking about this today is yesterday I was helping a friend unload a box truck. Picture one of those big box trucks, right? Almost not quite a semi, but just as big, just as high off the ground, right? So there's this big section that's got one of those lifts, in the back that goes up and down. So I'm standing, I finished unloading a pallet. So I'm taking the pallet and I'm dragging the pallet to the back, and I'm going to throw the pallet out onto a pile of other pallets. There's like 7 or 8 pallets just kind of thrown and strewn all over the grass, right, next to the truck. So I drag this pallet over and I throw it off, and it's heavy, and I don't even know what happened. Something got caught on the pallet. I think it was my foot or something, might have been. I don't even know. Next thing I know, I'm like flying through the air with the pallet. And I'm flying, and there's like 5 or 6 people standing around, and they're all my age and older, okay? I don't know the exact age, but they all look my age or a little bit older. So I throw the pallet and I'm flying through the air, and I smash into the ground. I kind of roll out of it, and I jump up, and I'm like, I'm good. And everybody comes running over, and everybody's freaking out like I'm gonna be dead, right? Like, they come over and they're like, this dude is dead. Even though I'm standing and I'm like, I'm good. And I got a big mark on my shin, a big gouge out of my skin. I got a big thing on the back of my arm. So I've got some bruises, but I'm 46 years old. I fell off the back of a truck onto a pile of pallets, rolled out of it somehow. I don't even know how I did it. Rolled out of it, stood up, landed on my feet, and walked away, to the shock of everybody else. And everybody else there says, oh my God. If that happened to me, I'd have been in the ambulance. Right? They're like, I'm too old for that. I can't handle that. And I know that the people that were saying that were around my age. And I wanted to say, like, how old do you think I am? But I think they thought that I was younger than what, so why am I telling you this story? It's so important for us to take care of ourselves. The reason we get injured more often when we get older, the reason that it's a fact, is because we haven't been taking good care of ourselves. I should be in a hospital bed right now. If I was normal, I would be in a hospital bed. Right? If I had not done all of the things that I've done, everything from eating good foods to thinking good thoughts to working on my athleticism to working on my strength and my conditioning, to all these things, if I had not done all these things, I would not be here having this conversation with you today. Right? So it's more, I want to reframe this thing of fear of injury. The fear of injury comes from not taking good care of yourselves for years and years and years and years and years. Right? If you have neglected your health and your well-being for the last 20 years, if you've traded that in for an amazing job, an amazing career, an amazing family, no judgment, that's great, but we want to have all of those things, right? We want to make sure that you're ready for all that life has to offer. And if something comes up where you fall or you whatever, when you're out doing something in your life, and I was out working in the community doing this thing, that you don't get derailed, right? I can still be here with my family. They don't have to worry about me, right? I can still do my job, and I can still provide for my family and make money and do all these things. Like, I'm still good. Even though I had this crazy event, I'm still good. It's so important to take care of your health and well-being. It's like the most critical thing. It's the most valuable thing. And it's the only reason I'm with you here today. I guarantee you, anybody that was there would likely have been in the hospital. It was that insane. I wish I had it on video because I would show it to you. I want to see it. It was crazy. So point being is, let's reframe this thing, because I also have other friends who are very, very fit, who are in their 40s, their 50s, and their 60s, who kind of have the same mentality. Like, I don't get hurt. I'm freaking bulletproof. Like, I mean, not to say that I couldn't get hurt. If I get hit by a truck, that'd be something different, right? But your threshold for damage becomes so much higher. It becomes so much higher. So look, if you're somebody who's been dealing with silly injuries, I call them silly injuries. What I did was a little bit extreme, but if you're leaning over to pick up a paperclip and you're throwing out your back, if you're rolling your ankle when you're out, hiking with your family on a fairly flat surface, like, these are silly injuries that you don't have to deal with. If you've slipped and fallen on something that is like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, where's my balance going? Oh, well, I'm just getting old. If you've ever said these things, I want you to rethink that. It's not your age. It's easy to point at age. It's harder to take responsibility for the position that you're in, right? It's harder to take that responsibility and take that ownership that, look, it's not your age. It's your lifestyle. All of the decisions and all of the things you've made up to that point is what got you to the place that you're in right now. And the only person that can save you is not SEAL Team 6, it's you. Because there is no SEAL Team 6. Nobody's coming to save you, right? You have to get this stuff figured out on your own. And that's exactly what we do in Athletic After 40. We help you to develop this lifestyle of health. And there's a lot of components to health, but the three big pillars are your nutrition, your fitness, your strength and conditioning, right? Your gas tank, your strength, your ability to become bulletproof and be a superhero. And then your sleep and your stress management, your recovery. Like, these are the things that make 46-year-old guys like me in better shape than a lot of the 20-year-olds that are out there. It can be done, but it does take a little bit of work. And part of the whole reason that I developed the Athletic After 40 coaching program is so that we can help folks like you to simplify the process, because the process is chaotic, it's messy, it's a disaster. So we want to simplify the whole thing. We want to make you as healthful as possible, because being athletic comes off of a foundation of amazing health, right? So if you'd like some help, let me know. Otherwise, hope this finds you well, and rock on.